Hi, I'm Mike Hussey. I'm here to talk to you today about the air-cooled Volkswagen engine. It's an engine that was commonly found in the very famous Volkswagen Bug. As opposed to the engine that you might find in your car, the Bug engine was located in the rear of the vehicle. This engine was used in the Karmann Ghia, the bay window bus, the split window bus, as well as several other models. What we have here today is a rebuilt engine, and I'm just going to show you the internal workings of the engine, including fuel, combustion, pressure, and the ignition of the explosive gasoline inside the engine. The main difference between this engine and the engine that you would find in your car is that it's air-cooled. Your car contains antifreeze and or water to cool the engine down from the high temperatures that are caused by the explosions that occur within the engine. When you look at your engine, you'll notice that you have the intake and the exhaust. The intake is the air that comes into the engine, which is used to burn the fuel inside the combustion chamber. The exhaust lets the explosion out of the engine at a sound level that you're willing to endure. Otherwise, there wouldn't be many consumers for vehicles. What we're looking at here is a carburetor. This is a carbureted engine, and the fuel goes down through the carburetor, through the intake manifold, and separates behind this assembly to the sides into the heads of the engine. The heads of the engine contain the intake and the exhaust valves. The intake and exhaust valves do just what they say they do. The intake lets the air and fuel mixture into the engine, and the exhaust valves let it out. Inside this area here is the crankshaft assembly and the rods that push the pistons in and out. When you're looking at this, the pistons come into the center, the fuel comes down through the intake and fills the chamber up with fuel. The next thing that happens is the valve closes, the pistons smash that mixture until it's very small, and then the spark plugs, which are located on either side, light the mixture on fire, and it explodes, causing the pistons to push back violently and turn the crankshaft, which rotates this entire assembly, and on the other side of the engine, it turns the transmission, which in turn turns the tires, which is the most important part of this whole operation here. The way it works now, we talked about the spark plugs, lighting the mixture on fire. This is called the distributor. In this particular distributor, there's 4 plug wires that would attach on these outlets here on the top, and they deliver the spark down to the spark plug assemblies, which you're probably familiar with on your lawnmower or other small engines. That spark comes from the coil. The coil is right here, located close to the distributor, and there would be a wire from here to here, delivering a very heavy spark to the distributor, which would cause an extreme shock to a person if they were to touch that wire at the wrong time or without a shielded glove or tool to use to protect them. This coil wire gets a signal from the ignition switch up in the passenger compartment of the car, which when the ignition is turned on, power goes to the coil, that delivers the spark to the distributor. Your ignition switch also delivers power to the starter on the motor, which turns the motor in a clockwise direction, pushing the pistons in and out. As the spark is delivered, it goes faster and faster and powers the tires on the other side of the vehicle. Volkswagen air-cooled can go up to about 80 miles an hour, and that's about top speed. Granted, back in the day, that's pretty fast for the conditions that they were driven in. The timing of all this spark activity is very particular, and you should follow the numbers here on this wheel. It tells you how many degrees above or below top dead center is. Right now it's set at about 7 degrees above top dead center, which is the distance that the piston is away from the end of the head. So the piston pulls away from the head with the valve open on this end, and the fuel comes in, and it's telling when to light that spark plug on fire, to light the fuel on fire and pass that on to the combustion inside the engine. So with this rotating assembly, and the fuel coming in and the exhaust coming out, the exhaust comes out of this port here and another one up here, And on the front here would be a muffler just like any other car. You need to muffle that sound so it makes it tolerable for the people riding in the vehicle and the people who are in the vehicle surrounding you. In the middle here is a fuel pump that delivers that fuel to the carburetor, and in turn the carburetor mixes the air and fuel and delivers it throughout the system. And as I pointed out earlier, that this engine contains no antifreeze. So the way that this works is that the air goes through this box right here and pushes it over the fins on some pistons down here that you cannot see, and the heat goes out the back. In a normal car like you would drive today, there would be water flowing through a jacket that is containing all of this and would drive the fuel, the heat away into the radiator. That's one of the reasons that we don't use air-cooled engines in modern cars today, is because they don't survive in desert atmospheres for long periods of time. Extreme cold is also difficult for them. But it is a good engine for a hobbyist, and so I hope that if you ever have a chance to work on an air-cooled Volkswagen engine, that you give it a go. And thank you very much for watching my video. If you would like to leave a comment below, please leave a comment. I am more than interested in your feedback.